When you take a look inside a book, it's fun as fun can be. Oh, now what have we here? When you take a look inside a book, who knows what you might see? A story or rhyme, just take the time to read along with me. Ah, here we are. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then I'll begin. This story is called I Want to Whistle. Marinda was sad. She couldn't find her new plastic whistle. Never mind, said her dad. Try and whistle without it. How? Asked Marinda. Make an O with your mouth and blow, said Dad. Like this. But when Marinda tried, the only sound that came out was a loud hissing noise. That's a good start, said Dad. Keep trying. Marinda tried and tried. She was still sitting on the step trying when her granny arrived. Gran, said Marinda, can you teach me to whistle? I'll show you what I do, said Granny. Put your little fingers in your mouth and blow. Granny's whistle was so loud, Marinda had to put her hands over her ears. But when she tried it for herself, she just made a rude noise. Keep trying, laughed Granny. But Marinda couldn't. And that night, she was still sad. She tried all day to whistle, and she still couldn't do it. I think you can, said Dad. But I think your whistle is quiet because you're only little. Try again, but very quietly this time. So Marinda made an O and blew very, very quietly. I can do it, said Marinda. Yes, said Dad, and this is one whistle you can't lose. Are you sitting comfortably?
Yes.
Good. Then I'll begin. This story is called A Picture Story. Marinda's granny had promised to give her some roller skates for her birthday. But when the post arrived, there was only a large envelope. Granny sent you a letter, said Mum. Oh, but I can't read yet, said Marinda. Well, open it and have a look, said Mum. When Marinda opened the letter, instead of words, she saw 3 pictures. Oh, what does it say? Asked Mum. I don't know, said Marinda. There's some stairs and a bed. And a red box. She had an idea. Does it say where the present is? Marinda went up and down the stairs 3 times. She even looked in the basket of clean washing that was waiting to go upstairs. But there was no present. What is the next picture? Said her mum. Oh, it was a bed, said Marinda. So she looked in her bedroom. Nothing. Then she looked on Mum's bed, and there was the big red box. Granny must have left it there last time she came. Marinda opened the box. Inside was a brand new pair of roller skates. There were lots of bangs and crashes while Marinda learned to skate. At first, she had to hold onto the sofa. Then, a little while later, she could do it by herself. That night, Marinda said, I've written a letter to Granny. She showed her mum 3 pictures. Do you think she'll know what it means? Oh, I think so, said Mum. It means that you can skate. Granny will be pleased. And that picture, said Marinda, means thank you. Marinda's mum was sewing something pink and white and fluffy. What are you making? Asked Marinda. "It's a surprise. You'll have to wait and see," said her mum. "Why don't you go and practice your dance with Kwame?" Marinda and Kwame were going to be rabbits in a special show at school. Marinda's granny watched them practicing. "Look, Granny," said Marinda. "Look at our bunny hops." "Our teacher said we did the best bunny hops," said Kwame. Marinda stopped hopping. "But Kwame, we're supposed to hop together," she said. So they tried to hop at the same time as each other. But first Kwame would hop, and then Marinda would hop. And then they bumped into each other and fell over. "Oh dear," said Granny. "You're not very happy, bunnies." Granny thought for a moment. Then she said, "I know. You need to count. Can you count to 3? "Of course we can," said Kwame. "Good," said Granny. "Then watch me." And Granny started bunny hopping. She sang out, 1, 2, 3, hop, 1, 2, 3, hop. Marinda laughed. "Oh, I see. That will help us hop together. Let's try it." 1, 2, 3, hop, said Marinda. 1, 2, 3, hop, said Kwame. 1, 2, 3, hop. 1, 2, 3, hop. "Well done," said Marinda's mum, and she showed them what she'd been sewing. "Rabbit's ears," said Marinda. "Rabbit's tails," said Kwame. So when Marinda and Kwame did their dance in the show, they both hopped together perfectly. And do you know why? 1, 2, 3, hop. 1, 2, 3, hop. 1, 2, 3, hop. This story is called Dressing Up.
Oh!
Molly and Marinda were playing. "Can we go outside?" they asked Molly's mum. "When it stops raining," she said. "If we were grown-ups," whispered Marinda, "we could do anything we wanted." "Let's pretend to be grown-ups now," said Molly. So they looked in Molly's dressing-up box. Molly found a long piece of silk. "I'm going to be your mum," said Molly. She wrapped the silk round her like a sari. And then she put on a purple wig. "My mum hasn't got purple hair," said Marinda. "When you're grown up, you can have any colour hair you like," said Molly. "I'm going to be my dad," said Marinda. She put on a bobble hat and a funny moustache. "Your dad doesn't have a moustache," said Molly. "Well, if I were grown up, I'd have one," said Marinda. They went into the kitchen. "Are you going to help me with this cake?" asked Molly's mum. "No, us grown-ups have to go shopping," said Molly. They drove to the supermarket and bought some oranges and crisps. Then they drove home. "Would you grown-ups like some cake mixture?" asked Molly's mum. Marinda got some on her moustache, and Molly got some on her purple hair. "Look, it stopped raining," said Mum. Marinda and Molly put on their wellies. "When I'm grown up, I'm still going to jump in puddles," said Molly. "Me too," said Marinda. And they both jumped in the biggest puddle they could find. Splash! This story is called Marinda Calling. Marinda wanted Molly to come round and play. "Why don't you call her?" said Dad. Marinda went to the hall, but the phone wasn't there. "Where's the phone gone, Dad?" asked Marinda. "It might be on Mum's desk," said Dad. But it wasn't. It wasn't anywhere in the living room. Dad had a look in the bedroom, but it wasn't there. "Hello, phone," called Marinda. "Where are you?" Dad laughed. "We need someone to phone us," he said. "Then we'd hear it ringing." Marinda went into the kitchen where Gran was making tea. "We can't find the phone, Gran," said Marinda. "So I can't ask Molly to come and play." "Oh, I've lost something too," said Gran. "I bought some milk, but it's not in the fridge. I don't know what I've done with it." Dad said he'd go over the road and ask Molly if she'd like to come and play. "And we need some milk for Gran too," said Marinda. "No, here's the milk," said Dad. It was on the hall table. Just then the fridge made a funny noise. Dring, 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 dring. Gran laughed. "Silly me," she said. "I must have put the phone in the fridge and the milk in the hall." Dad opened the fridge and Marinda picked up the phone. It was freezing cold. "Hi, Marinda," said a voice. It was Molly. "How are you?" "Oh, I'm cold," said Marinda, and everybody laughed.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Oh, yes.
Good. Then I'll begin. One morning, Molly dressed up her teddy for the teddy bear's picnic. Everyone was taking a teddy. Even Molly's dad had found his teddy, which only had one eye but was still smiling. When everyone was ready, they went to Marinda's house, where Marinda's mum had packed some delicious food into a huge picnic basket. Molly and Marinda wanted to peep inside, but Marinda's dad shooed them upstairs to find Marinda's teddy. Marinda looked under the bed, but he wasn't there. "Don't worry," said Molly. "I'll help you look." They looked in the bottom of the wardrobe and found 3 smelly socks. They looked behind the curtains and found an old balloon. Marinda was upset. "I want my teddy." "Time to go," called Marinda's mum. Then Marinda began to cry. "I want my teddy." Molly had to think of something that would make things better quickly. "Why don't you help me look after my teddy?" "She's so big that she needs a lot of looking after," said Molly. Marinda stopped crying and nodded. Molly held one paw and Marinda held the other, and they swung the teddy into the air. Whee! When they arrived at the picnic, Molly and Marinda put all the teddies in a big circle. "Why don't you help get the picnic out of the basket?" said Marinda's mum. So Molly and Marinda opened the basket, and inside they found sandwiches, cherries, pink cakes, peaches, marshmallows, crisps, carrots, lemonade, and Marinda's tiny teddy. "Oh dear, I put your teddy in there so that we wouldn't forget him," said Marinda's mum. "I'm sorry." Marinda's tiny teddy sat next to Molly's huge teddy, and everyone tucked into the picnic.
"Are you sitting comfortably?"
Yesity, yes! Let's go, Roly Mo!
Good. Then I'll begin. It was bedtime, and Marinda had washed her face and put on her pyjamas. She was just tucking up Teddy when Granny came in to give her a kiss. "Is there something you've forgotten?" she asked Marinda. Marinda shook her head. "I don't think so." "Perhaps this will give you a clue," chuckled Granny. "There's something you keep bright by brushing every night, and if you brush them right, they'll stay all sparkly white." "I know," shouted Marinda. "It's my teeth. I haven't brushed them yet." "When I was little, my Granny used to say that rhyme every evening to help me brush my teeth," Granny said. "Oh, say it again, please," said Marinda. So Marinda put toothpaste on her brush, and Granny said the rhyme again. "There's something you keep bright by brushing every night, and if you brush them right, they'll stay all sparkly white." said Marinda through a mouthful of toothpaste. "Say that again," said Granny, without the toothbrush. "I said I have to brush them in the morning too," said Marinda. "I know," said Granny. "And my Granny had a morning rhyme as well, but you'll have to wait until tomorrow to hear that one." Next morning, after breakfast, Marinda raced to the bathroom to brush her teeth. "Quick, Granny," said Marinda. "What's the morning rhyme?" And Granny said, Every single day, before you go and play, there's something you must do to help you bite and chew. Said Marinda through another mouthful of toothpaste. So Granny said the rhyme again, while Marinda brushed her teeth. And then Marinda said it while Granny brushed hers. This story is called Favourite Things. See how many favourite things you can count. Think of a colour, a favourite colour. What colour would it be? Would it be red, or would it be green? Or would it be something in between? What colour would it be? Think of a number, a favourite number. What number would it be? Would it be 1, or would it be 3, or would it be something in between? What number would it be? All sorts of colours and all sorts of numbers. So many things to see. A favourite colour, a favourite number. Which will your favourite be? Which one will it be? A favourite colour, a favourite number. What will your favourite be? Are you sitting comfortably?
Yes!
Good. Then I'll begin. Molly, Marinda and Molly's Gran were at the beach. They had great fun looking in rock pools, but they couldn't find any little sea creatures. Just seaweed. Keep looking, girls, said Gran. They're probably hiding. I'm good at hiding too, said Molly. Let's play hide and seek, said Marinda. You two hide, said Gran, and I'll come and find you. Gran closed her eyes and counted slowly to 10. Here I come, called Gran. But it didn't take her long to find Molly. And it didn't take long to find Marinda either. How did you find us so quickly? Asked Molly. Easy, replied Gran with a chuckle. I just followed your footprints in the sand. Oh, yes, said Marinda. Can we have another go? So Gran closed her eyes again and started to count. Marinda whispered something to Molly, and off they went to hide. Gran finished counting, looked at the sand, and went straight over to a big rock. Found you, she called out, and out popped Marinda. Well, I found you, she said to Marinda, but I don't know where Molly can be. There's only one set of footprints this time. It's very mysterious. Here I am, shouted Molly. But how did you get there? Asked Gran. There's only one set of footprints. Did you fly? No, laughed Molly. I didn't fly, but I walked in Marinda's footprints. We played a trick on you, laughed Marinda. Very clever, smiled Gran, and Molly and Marinda giggled about the mystery of the footprints all the way home. The story is called Molly's New Shoes. Molly had new shoes. They were brand new, shiny brown shoes, and Molly was wearing them for the first time. What do they feel like, Molly? Asked her dad. They feel a bit stiff, she said. Try walking in them, said Dad. So Molly did. Clump, clump, clump. The shoes were really noisy. Don't worry, Molly, said Dad. New shoes are like that sometimes. You'll get used to them. They went to the park for a walk. Clump, clump, clump. These shoes are really noisy, said Molly. In the park, they met Molly's friend, Marinda, and her dad. The two dads sat on a bench talking. Come and feed the birds with me, said Marinda. They showed Molly a big bag of breadcrumbs, and they went over to where some birds were hopping on the grass. Clump, clump, clump. Molly's shoes were so noisy, the birds twittered and flew away. Oh, you frightened them, Molly, said Marinda. It wasn't me, it was my noisy shoes, said Molly. Let's try again, said Marinda. Marinda went up to the birds, who hadn't gone far away. She started throwing some breadcrumbs to them. Come on, Molly, she said. Clump, clump, clump. The birds flew away again. They didn't like Molly's new shoes. They were far too noisy. Said Marinda. I've got an idea. Marinda stood next to Molly with the breadcrumbs. Stay very still, Molly, said Marinda. Don't move your shoes. She stood very, very still, and the birds came close enough to them to eat the breadcrumbs. You can help me now, said Marinda. Help me throw the breadcrumbs. So Molly helped Marinda throw breadcrumbs to the hungry birds, keeping her noisy new shoes very, very still. This story is called The Shiny Button. Molly and Marinda were on the beach with Molly's granny. It was a hot day, and they were paddling and looking for crabs. Suddenly, Marinda shouted, Look! And she picked up a small, shiny piece of metal. I've found buried treasure. That's not buried treasure, said Molly. It's a button. It's as shiny as treasure, said Marinda. It looks as if it's come from a smart uniform, said Granny. Do you think we can find out who it belongs to? Asked Marinda. Tell you what, said Granny. There's PC Poppet. Let's ask him. Hello, he said. Are you enjoying the sun? Oh, yes, thank you, said Granny. But you look a bit hot in that jacket of yours. Oh, yes, it is hot, said PC Poppet. But I have a cold, and I need to keep it on. Marinda held out the button. We found this, she said. Can you tell us who it belongs to? Said PC Poppet. I've seen this somewhere before. Now where? PC Poppet sneezed. He sneezed so hard that one of the buttons on his uniform flew off and landed in the sea. Molly fished it out of the water. That button's just like the one we found, said Marinda. PC Poppet looked at both buttons. So it is. That's where I've seen it before. It's my button. It must have popped off the last time I sneezed. I thought it was buried treasure, said Marinda. Well, it's not quite as important as that, said PC Poppet. But it is important to me, so tell you what, I'll buy you an ice cream to say thank you. And he did. This story is called Mind That Hole. There was a large hole in the road. Molly and Marinda went with Molly's dad to have a look. Mind that hole, he said. There should be a fence round that. Just as he said that, his new hat fell off. Straight down the hole. Dad threw some pebbles down. There was a soft thud as they hit the bottom. Marinda's teddy bear slipped out of her hand and bump. Head first down the hole. Teddy! She shouted. He's all right. I can see him, said Molly's dad. PC Poppet came past. Mind that hole, he said. There should be a fence round that. He got out his notebook and leaned over to get a better look. Plop! Down went the notebook. A fire engine came along, and a firefighter got out. "Mind that hole," she said. "You can't be too careful with a hole like that." She peered down, and her glasses fell off. Tinkle down the hole. The firefighter got a long ladder and climbed down the hole. She was gone quite a long time. But when she came up, she had her glasses, PC Poppet's notebook, Marinda's teddy bear, and Molly's dad's hat. They hadn't got the stones, but no one worried about that. Just then, the workmen came back from lunch, filled in the hole, and everyone went home. There was going to be a big party in the street where Ben and Charlie lived. Everyone was making something for it. Mum was icing little cakes, and Ben and Charlie were putting tiny sweets on the sticky icing. "Spotty cakes," said Charlie. Molly and her dad were making flags. Dad cut out the shapes, and Molly painted spots on them. "Spotty flags," said Molly. Marinda was helping her Gran to make hats. Gran glued the circles of paper together, and Marinda stuck on lots of brightly coloured dots. "Spotty hats," said Marinda. But next day, when Mum woke Ben and Charlie, she got a surprise. "Oh dear," she said. "You're all spotty. It's chicken pox. I think you'd better stay in bed." "But, Mum, it's the street party today," said Ben. "But you might give the chicken pox to all the other children," said Mum. "Why don't you watch from your window?" Molly and Marinda saw them at the window. "You're all spotty," called Molly. The boys told them about the chicken pox and about having to stay inside. "I've got an idea," said Molly. Soon she was back with 2 hats and a line of flags. "These are for you," she said. "But we can't reach them," said Ben. But then Marinda arrived, and she had Josh and Martha's uncle with her. There was something very strange about him. He looked very tall. "I thought I'd get my stilts out today to entertain the children," he said. "I didn't realise they'd be useful as well." He handed up the spotty hats and tied a line of spotty flags to the boys' window. Mum came in with spotty cakes. "Oh, what good friends you have!" And as the band played in the street, Molly and Marinda danced, and the boys clapped and ate the spotty cakes, and everyone had a wonderful time. This story is called Molly's Surprise. Molly rode her tricycle up and down the path outside her house. Zoom! Molly's tricycle was getting too small for her, but Molly wasn't sad. Tomorrow was her birthday, and she was going to have a real bike with training wheels. Molly usually liked surprises for her birthday, but she didn't mind knowing about the bike. She and Marinda had gone with Molly's dad to buy it from a car boot sale in the school playground. It looked a bit scratched and bashed. But Dad had said, "Just you wait and see." First of all, he straightened out the dents. Then he tightened the screws and oiled it. Molly chose 2 kinds of paint for it, bright pink and shiny silver. When her dad had finished, it looked as good as new. Molly's birthday morning arrived, and she opened her other presents. There was a long box from Auntie Mary, lots of coloured beads to make a necklace, a funny-shaped parcel from Granny, socks, sweets, and a colouring book and pens. There was a little doll from Marinda. Aww. And then there was a very small box. A small square box which rattled when she shook it. Molly read the label. Love from Mummy and Daddy. And inside the box, was a bell. A new bell for her big bike. So Molly did have a birthday surprise after all. This story is called Miles of Smiles. One day, Molly woke up in a bad mood. She looked outside. It was grey and cloudy. Said Molly. Mum made a smiley face out of jam on Molly's porridge. Molly didn't like porridge today. You always like porridge, said Mum. Said Molly. Molly went into the living room to be on her own, but Dad came in to cheer her up. He tried to stand on his head and fell over. He leapfrogged over the coffee table. Molly still didn't smile. Oh, well, said Dad, and went out again. Good, thought Molly. It was Marinda and her dad. Marinda's in a bad mood, said her dad. Now I feel in a bad mood as well. Let's have a competition, said Molly's mum. Who can do the grumpiest face? So everyone tried to look really grumpy. The dads were very good at looking grumpy. Molly's mouth started to turn up a little bit. Marinda was staring at Molly's dad. She thought he looked very funny. Then Marinda started to smile. No, said Molly's mum, no smiling. This is a grumpy competition. But soon everyone was smiling because they all looked so funny. OK, now it's a smiling competition, said Molly's mum. Molly and Marinda won 2 stickers because they had the biggest smiles. And every time Molly felt grumpy, she thought of her dad's funny face and she smiled again. This story is called Molly's Card. One morning, the postman brought something for Molly. What is it? Asked Dad. Oh, it's an invitation from Marinda, said Dad. She's having a Diwali party tomorrow, and we're all invited. Molly jumped up and down with excitement. She had never been to a Diwali party before. Mum and Molly went to the shops to buy Marinda a special Diwali card. But when they got there, they couldn't find one. There were birthday cards, and get-well cards, and even good luck cards, but no Diwali cards. Never mind, said Mum. We can make one instead, and we can make it extra special. So that's what they did. All afternoon, Molly drew, and coloured, and cut out, and stuck, until finally the card was finished. Mum even found a shiny silver envelope to put it in. The next day, Molly held Marinda's card very tightly as they knocked at the door. Look at those, said Molly, pointing at the lights twinkling in the windows. Marinda's dad had painted a beautiful pattern on the doorstep to welcome the guests. And inside, Marinda's mum had decorated the living room with flowers. Marinda opened Molly's card and put it with the others on the table. I think all the cards are pretty, said Marinda, but Molly's is the best of all. Are you sitting comfortably?
Yes?
Good. Then I'll begin. Molly was very excited. She was going to a party. But when Mum started the car, it made a funny spluttery noise and wouldn't move. Bother, said Mum. The car's broken down. Molly was worried. Does that mean we can't go to the party? No, said Mum, smiling. It just means we'll have to walk. but that's okay. It's not far. All right, then, said Molly. Don't forget your present, said Mum. And they set off. Mum walked and Molly skipped as fast as she could. "Hi, Molly," came a voice. It was Marinda. She was on her way to the party too. She waved and Molly waved back. "Hurry up, Mum," said Molly. "We're going to be late." Then Granny went by on her way to the party. She waved and Molly waved back. "Hurry up, Mum," said Molly. "We're going to be really late." Then Molly's friend Kwame went by in his dad's taxi. He waved and Molly waved back. "Cars and bikes and buses are much quicker than us," said Molly. "We're going to be the last ones there." "I don't think so," said Mum. "Look." All the traffic had stopped moving. Then Molly saw why. Everything was stuck behind a great big tractor. Molly skipped past Kwame in the taxi, Granny on her bus, and then Marinda on her dad's bike. Molly and her mum were the first ones to get to the party, and Molly had 3 plates of jelly before anyone else arrived.
Oh, thank you, Uncle Roly. I really liked that story.
So did I.